Shiva is one of the most important deities in Hinduism. He is often described as the third person of the Holy Trinity, which includes Brahma, the Father, Vishnu, the Son, and Shiva, the Holy Spirit. The character of Shiva is unpredictable and sometimes very dangerous because of his destructive nature. Shiva simply means auspicious. Being auspicious means to succeed, and indeed, Shiva succeeds in everything he does, both in war and in silence. Shiva is also known as an ascetic, abstaining himself from all forms of indulgence and pleasure, concentrating only on meditation as a means to finding happiness. Though he has a very darker side, Shiva is also referred to as the leader of demons and evil spirits. He is often seen dancing at graveyards only to extract the light from those who have died, and is also known to dance on the cremation pile. The cremation pile is a sacred place where the bodies of those who are dead are burnt. Shiva dances on the ashes of the bodies cremated. While dancing on the ashes, Shiva draws the light essence from the cremated ashes and returns it to the great central sun for repolarization. Shiva is often seen in a yogic position with a snake around his neck and with a matted hair, sitting in a meditative position, and beside him is his trident spear. Sometimes Shiva is seen with a skull of demons, which he wears around his neck as a necklace, or the 108 seeds collected from the Rudraksha tree, which he makes as a necklace or a wristband. There are 3 lines on Shiva's forehead. They are called the Veghite, which symbolizes the immortality of Shiva and his manifested glory. Shiva is also known to have a blue skin and a blue throat. The cause of his blue throat came as a result of swallowing the Hala poison. One day, Vasuki, the god of snakes, threatened to vomit poisons on all the seas, which was the snake venom, and it was poisonous even to the gods, and any god who mistakenly drinks the poison would be dead. When Vasuki finally released the poison, Shiva collected the poison and drank all of it, and the poison burned his throat, leaving a permanent blue scar on his throat. In some stories, it was Parvati who squeezed his throat, not allowing for Shiva to swallow the poison, and the poison burned Shiva's throat. Hence, he was given the title Nilankata, which simply means the one with a blue throat. The origin of Shiva has always been a difficult topic to talk about. But one story tells of Brahma and Vishnu, who were arguing about who is the most powerful being in the universe between the both of them. The argument led into a long debate when all of a sudden a mighty pillar appeared out of nowhere. Its roots were deeply rooted into the earth and its branches went beyond the heavens. Acting swiftly, Brahma transformed himself into a goose and flew to locate the top of the pillar, while Vishnu transformed himself into a boar and dug deep into the earth, but none of them was able to find the beginning nor the ending of the pillar. Both of them came back and were discussing on what has happened. Suddenly, the center of the pillar began to open, and Shiva stepped out of the pillar. They had no other option but to accept Shiva as their equal and third ruler of the universe. Shiva plays many roles in Hinduism, and one of them is being the destroyer. Hinduism teaches that the universe regenerates in cycles, and at the end of each cycle, Shiva destroys the universe and everything on it, not out of evil, but for necessity, and to allow for a rebirth. That is why the title, the Destroyer, is given to him. Shiva is also known for his cosmic dance. The dance of Shiva brings the dissolution of human ignorance and all forms of evil created, allowing for humans to detach themselves from material things and enabling them to move into higher realms. Shiva is also called the Lord of Dance. The rhythm of his dance purifies the world and keeps the universe in balance. Shiva dances in 2 ways. One of them is a Tandava. The Tandava dance is a dance of death and destruction, and it is only performed by Shiva at the end of the cycles when the universe is to be destroyed. The Nataraja dance, it is a king dance. creativity and wholeness. It is also a dance done in benevolence. It is simply the dance of creation. Many times a dance challenge has been set between Shiva and other gods, but Shiva wins at the end of each dance. It was said of one story when Shiva was challenged into a dance competition, and Shiva accepted the challenge. When the dance began, Shiva became very furious and uncontrollable and started destroying the universe, but he was stopped by the multiple pleading and sacrifices made unto him from other gods. Shiva's wife was Parvati. She is often incarnated as the goddess Kali or the goddess Durga. Parvati is also the daughter of the god Himalaya and also reincarnated as Sati, the daughter of the god Daksha. Daksha did not approve of Sati's marriage to Shiva and held a sacrificial ceremony to all the gods which he invited except Shiva. Outraged by this, Sati threw herself into the sacrificial fire and was burnt to death. Shiva became very angry and created 2 demons out of his hair who wreaked havoc on the ceremony and beheaded Daksha. The other gods began to plead with Shiva to end the violence. Shiva then brought Daksha back to life, replacing his head with the head of a goat. Sati was later reincarnated as Parvati in her next life, and she finally married Shiva. One day, when Shiva went on his meditative journey, Parvati became very bored and created the god Ganesha out of clay, so as Ganesha could keep her company and serve as her protector. And when Shiva came back from his journey, he met with a little Ganesha who was preventing him from entering into the room where Parvati was bathing. Shiva became very angry and called up 2 demons who began to fight with Ganesha, and as the fight became intense, Ganesha was distracted by the appearance of the beautiful Maya, and within a split seconds, Shiva cut off the head of Ganesha. Hearing the commotion, Parvati rushed out and saw her son dead. She screamed in pain and explained to Shiva. Realizing his mistakes, Shiva sent for a new head in order to bring Ganesha back to life, but the nearest at hand was the head of an elephant, and so the elephant god Ganesha was born. The other sons of Shiva are Kartikeya or Skanda, who is the god of war, and Kuvera, who is the god of treasures. After celebrated episodes of Shiva, a story of Surabi, the original mother of all the world's cow, was told. Surabi began to give birth to an untold numbers of perfectly white cows. The milk from the cows flooded the home of Shiva, thereby disturbing his meditation. Shiva became very angry at the disturbance of his meditation, and he opened his third eye, releasing a blazing fire from his third eye, which consumed all the cows. The other gods pleaded with Shiva and offered him a male cow named Nandi. All stories of Shiva that exists speaks about the complex nature of Shiva. One story tells of Parvati playing with Shiva, so she blindfolded the eyes of Shiva, and immediately all the light in the universe went off and the entire universe was in darkness. Then Shiva opened his third eye, which blazed like 10,000 suns put together, releasing fire, which destroyed a part of the Himalayan mountain, which was the abode of the god Himalaya, and out of remorse, Shiva recreated the mountain. Shivites repeats the mantra Om Namah Shivaya, which simply means I bow to Shiva, in order to attain union with Shiva and to cleanse their follower bodies. Shiva is a being not to be joked with because he takes jokes seriously. All stories of Shiva tells of his destructive nature, so therefore he who calls to Shiva must call to Shiva with a pure heart, lest you will be destroyed. At the mentioning of the name Shiva, Shiva comes to wherever his name has been mentioned. Remember, a destroyer will always be a destroyer. Shiva and his complex nature, still, he has a compassionate heart and also a benevolent nature. The stories of Shiva are too numerous to tell. Shiva is the death of deaths. Like, comment, and follow for more.